Hello all, welcome to another women's update. My name is Matt Roberts for Gooner Gathering. Hope that you enjoy your bank holiday. Certainly it was a very interesting weekend for the women, so we're best to lead off then with the final game of the season at Meadow Park. Arsenal played Aston Villa. It was a very interesting game and a very heartfelt game. In the end, Aston Villa winning the game 2-0. Rachel Daly scoring just before half-time, and then Alicia Lehmann scored in the second half. But the reason it was more emotional was the fact that Champions League is coming to Meadow Park and the Emirates, barring qualification, which I will talk about later on. But with Man City winning 3-2, it went to goal difference. Arsenal beat Man City on goal difference. That 11-goal swing was just enough for Arsenal to stay third, and we'll go into that mini tournament come next month, in the next couple of months. So at this moment in time, there's been a few interesting stories going about. So at the moment, Rafaela Souza has left the club. She is expected to leave to go to Orlando Pride. As much as we would like her to stay, a bit unfortunate at this moment in time, but it's going to be difficult to replace her. There's going to be a lot of spots now that we're going to have to fill over the summer. There's also talks now that Anna Patton might be leaving. Aston Villa looking to sign her permanently, as well as Brighton, so we'll see how that goes. There's been a few interesting rumours going around. Some players such as Pedersen of Juventus, Gunners Jot here, also of Juventus has been talked about. Chloe Leclasse, that's been going around since last summer as well, and also the ever continuing rumour of Alessia Russo. So it'll be interesting. It's very much going to be a wait and see what happens sort of summer. There's going to be plenty of names being dropped. There's going to be plenty of incomings, I would imagine, and there's going to be a few more outgoings. We know that Mano Ibuchi's contract is out at the end of the summer, and you would expect her to move on as well. So there's going to be, I would imagine there'll be a few more goodbyes at this moment in time as well. So on to the Champions League then. So just this is happening all after the World Cup is finished. That's about roughly 2 weeks. So we start the World Cup around the 25th of June, I believe, and it'll be the similar sort of time as about the 25th, 26th of July that the final is on. So with that being said, the semi-final, shall I say, they call it a mini tournament essentially. So what happens is one team, say Arsenal, will host this mini tournament, or one city will host the mini tournament, and essentially you have knockout games left, right and centre, but it's like a one-off game. So for example, Arsenal could potentially play Linkopings of Switzerland, Valeria of Norway, FC Slovako of SK Stormgraz of Austria, Celtic of Scotland, Tomiris Turin of Kazakhstan, Strazornan of Iceland in that one-off game. That could be potentially played at Meadow Park. That's just one option. There are other teams in there as well. So essentially, say Arsenal get in the draw Linkopings, that'll be their one-sided final. If you go to extra time penalties, if it ends up say 0-0, and then in the next spot, say Celtic face who are also another seeded team, so say that will be between Twente, Levante, Frankfurt, Paris, Minsk, Landori, or Juventus. So say for example Celtic played Paris, and say Celtic beat Paris, and we beat Limpokins. That would be our final. And that whoever wins that would then progress to the next round. So it's not just a one-off. Manchester United, as they came second, they get that second spot, and there's a potential that because they got no coefficients, because they haven't played Champions League before, that they could end up with a team like Juventus in their knockout game which will be two-legged affair. That will be just, I would imagine, just after the WSL starts up again. So just to give you dates for all of this, for this officially the mini tournament, as they call it, the semi-final will be the 6th of September, and then the final will be on the 9th of September. And you'd imagine that with the WSL starting on the 29th of September, so that's the Friday, around towards the end of that month, that would be when that first game is. We still don't know who's going to be playing who, but at that moment in time, I would imagine that within the first 2 weeks, essentially, that last playoff spot to get into the group stage will be played, and it will be a very interesting one. So that's all from me today. I have been Matt Roberts. My Twitter handle is @MattAlar28.